What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the InnovationYGO podcast. And on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about 5 mistakes every new Yu-Gi-Oh player makes all the time. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because, let's face it, we've all been there when we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh as a new player. And throughout the years, I've seen a lot of players come in and out of the game and make mistakes. So with that being said, it is my duty and my privilege as a veteran player to help you guys not make the same mistakes I've made and seen other people make. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Without further ado, let's begin. Starting off with my number 5 mistake, buying boxes. For whatever reason, when people first start getting into card games, specifically Yu-Gi-Oh, I see players flood to buying boxes versus just buying singles right out. And for good reason. You know, if you're coming from just a general gamer background, you may think buying things like the actual box is beneficial if you're building a specific deck or archetype, looking at you, Sky Striker. But when you realize how much of a waste of money it is just to buy that one, deck, you're crazy. Because think about it, you're gonna pay about 80 to 90 bucks to buy one box to pick up like 15 cards, and in most cases, you can spend the same amount of money to pick up the same cards for half the price. And then if you can save the extra money, you can get the supporting cards for the deck, like your extra deck, like your side deck, and etc. So it is a known thing in the community that buying boxes is a waste of money. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to make your money back from buying a box of Yu-Gi-Oh! I see this a lot with Magic players come over to Yu-Gi-Oh! They buy boxes because Magic, when you buy a box, you can make some good money back. But it doesn't work like that way on Yu-Gi-Oh! In Yu-Gi-Oh, 90% of the cards in the set is trash. Only 10% of the cards is good. So with that being said, it's better to always save your money, guys, and not buy boxes and you guys are good. Don't make this rookie mistake of buying boxes. Always buy singles. I mean, I guess the only time you can buy boxes is if you want to really invest heavily into the game and become a vendor. You gotta buy at least boxes by the caseload. Because at that point, not only will you get the deck and the cards that you want, but you can also make your money back. But you don't really make, necessarily, people don't make their money back buying one box. It's just not possible. Unless they sell every little thing in the box for $1, and that takes a long time, which I'm not about to waste my time doing it. I'd rather spend time doing other things to make better money. Number 4, a lot of new Yu-Gi-Oh players do not keep track of their life points. This is huge. Reason being, cheaters exist. Cheaters exist in all card games, especially Yu-Gi-Oh! Not keeping track of life points can be the difference between you winning your first local and or regional and or YCS. I see it all the time. You get a new player, they're fresh, rookie face, going to locals excited, to play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't have a pen and paper to keep life points. They may have a phone. They're usually using their phone blasting music and not using a calculator. And their opponent's taking everything down in the calculator properly. And not too often, I see people winning and the opponent like, oh, I got 1,000 left, and the opponent come back and win. And then we calculate all their damage they gave the opponent after the game. They've dealt way more than 8,000 damage. And the reason why people cheat, because they want to win so bad at this game that they kill them to lose to a rookie player who don't know what they're doing. So, with that being said, it's not hard to keep track of your life points, guys. Pen and paper is all you really need to succeed at keeping your life points. It's not hard. Judges tell you to do it all the time at regionals. Actually, at big events, it's mandatory, because if you do not have pen and paper and your opponent does, even if you guys both have calculators, the person with pen and paper get priority on the rulings and or argument than you would if you didn't have pen and paper. So with that being said, just keep track of life points, guys, if you're going to start playing this game. Heck, I'll even throw in some dice in there as well to keep up turns. Number 3, a lot of new Yu-Gi-Oh players mess up chain links. Heck, a lot of old players mess up chain links. Chain links is something that's hard to master. Actually, I made a video on that. You guys can check the video out in the iCard after this video. But essentially, chain links is something a lot of new players mess up. Not that they don't know, like, if I activate MST on chain link 1, in response to a Phoenix Chain, MST on Chain Link 2, in response to a card like Phoenix Chain on Chain Link 1, the MST resolves first and Phoenix Chain don't get to activate. They don't mess up on simple things like that. I think most new players get things like that. It's just that when the more complicated rulings come about, and I definitely get it, because even a lot of veteran players like myself can screw up on complicated rulings. But more often than not, if you're going to play a complicated deck, let us say for example Domain Monarchs that have a lot of weird ruling issues, Spirals that have a lot of weird ruling issues, know what you're doing, guys. Don't just sit up here and just spit to the board and try to do all these fast chains, because what happens is your opponent's going to take advantage of you and they're going to rule shark you, and you're going to lose and you're going to get mad. Because that's how I got introduced to rule sharks. I wasn't used to the chain links, so I was just playing like how I played my homies back in high school, and people like, you didn't do it the exact way. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, you have to resolve this in this order for that to resolve. And I'm like, well, you know what I meant when I was playing it. And most people will tell you, well, you have to resolve it properly, and since you did not resolve it properly, I win. People do not care. They will take advantage of you, and they'll take advantage of you not knowing how to play your game properly. Especially with decks like Mermail, Spirals, any deck that has complicated chain link rulings. So with that being said, just make sure you guys are taking care of your chain links, and you guys are going to be good to go. Check out my chain link video, it'll teach you guys a lot. Number 2, overextending plays. This is huge for whatever reason, and you know, maybe it comes from watching a TV show, I don't know. I see a lot of new players, guys. A lot of new players always play a monster in attack mode, pass, no back row, and just like, what? I've seen people not set one pass. Set one pass back in the day for us old school players can be crucial, because it may be a cyber jar that's gonna catch you with the okie doke, it may be a fiber jar, it could be something that can really mess you up. It can even be a man eater bug. But you know, just doing simple things like summoning a monster in attack mode like Elemental Hero Neos and pass. What? Like what kind of Yu-Gi-Oh is this? Like, I mean, it should be pretty much common sense, but common sense is not so common. Never make plays where, you know, you're just gonna not capitalize off your play. And more often than not, I see a lot of people just overextending by spitting their entire combos to the board first turn. Great example. I used to see people go Dark Law, spit a bunch of monsters to the board, pass. With no back row, no protection for the Dark Law, no follow-up. Now granted, sometimes you just have a crappy hand, and that's all you could do, because if you don't do it, you're going to lose anyway if you know what you're doing and you know how to play the meta. But more often than not, it doesn't work that way, and you're going to go ahead and lose simply due to the fact that your opponent is going to dark hole your board wipe you, and you're just going to be looking stupid with the okie doke. So with that being said, stop overplaying your plays, guys. Take your time, think about what you're going to do before you do it, and you guys will be good to go. I mean, yeah, it does take a little practice to not overextend. This is a problem that a lot of people have, because you think, okay, I can make my combo. Let me go ahead and spit my combo to the field and do well, because if my opponent can't stop my combo, I win. But more often than not, the opponent's going to have something ready for you in this day and age of Yu-Gi-Oh, because almost every card can react to every other card, which makes decks that just spit their hand to the board and pass not good. So man, just stop overplaying your plays, stop playing everything in your hand, try reserving some of your cards when you guys make plays, and you guys will be good. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, mistakes that all new players make that I see all the time, is not trying out their own ideas. Like, this is huge. This is the most important thing to me, which is why I brought on this list of number ones, because a lot of new players never try out their own ideas. And people always tell me, Chris, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I tell people, dude, test it out. What are you asking me my opinion for? Now, granted, I mean, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a good player. People value my opinion, and I don't mind giving my opinion out. But if it's something like a deck idea, don't ask me my opinion, because what I'm gonna tell you is test it out. I'm not Nostradamus. You might have an idea of that with that card that I don't have. Now, if you tell me, hey Chris, what do you think about this combo? I'll be like, okay, that's different. But don't tell me, hey, what do you think about this card? I have an idea that you haven't implemented yet. Test it out. It's not hard, guys. Test it out. When I was on my Naruto team, we always had a saying: if you have an idea, test it out. Because just because I think the idea is bad, don't mean that you didn't think of something good with that idea. Because think about it. What if your idea is really, really good, and you just say, because your friends told you it sounds stupid, you never tested it out, but then you go to watch a YCS replay and you see somebody like a Billy Brake or a Jeff Jones do the same idea you had, and you're just like, wow, if I would just tested my idea out, I probably could have been sitting at the top table with the big boys, but now I'm sitting down here with the scrubs because I was too scared to test my idea out. You know, the sky is the limit with the brain, and you guys can't be afraid of change, and you guys can't be afraid of being yourself. So with that being said, man, just test your ideas out, and you guys will do well, and you guys will do 10 times better than all of your friends. Trust me on that. So with all that being said, man, post your thoughts and opinions about this video in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about new players, and what kind of tips could you guys recommend new players to have? I want to hear you guys' thoughts about this because I think it's something that can help the community. So with all that being said, man, this is InnovationYGO, and I'm signing out. Smash that like button. Let's get today's likes up to 200. And I'm signing out. Peace and stay innovative. Deuces.